All right, what's going on, YouTube? My name is Cavante, and this is K Talk. And so this is just my introduction, and we're gonna start from the beginning, start from the top. So what I'm beginning to realize is that I need to start talking more, as in expressing my mind. And one thing I'm starting to realize more and more is how valuable technology is. We have to think about technology. What is technology? Technology is kind of like magic, no lie, because no no other point in time of human history has there been something like what we have today. And I always like using this. If I brought an iPhone back 1,000 years ago, they're gonna chop up my body, feed me to the horses, to the pigs, whoever. Maybe they won't even bury the phone with me. They're gonna burn the phone separate in a ritual or something. That's how bad it's gonna be, cause you're tripping. Like, what is in your hand? Like, you're not one of us. You're not us. They're gonna kill me. They're gonna think it's magic. Real talk. Like, they're gonna kill you. And so we're born into this generation where we don't think nothing about it. It's just technology. And so one of the things that technology has brought is platforms like YouTube, which I'm on right now. And YouTube is somewhere where you can do anything, really. Record anything, speak your mind, go places, show, videos, whatever. And one thing about this we have to realize is the power of being able to upload something and then show the whole world. And I feel like one of the top things about speaking your mind is kind of stage fright, fear of, self judgment or what people are going to think about you and all of that. But you have to remember there's around 8 billion people on this earth. And don't think for 1 second that it ain't people out there just like you. See, these days is different. We have magic in our hands. And it's foolish of us if we don't use it, to its best extent, its fullest extent. And on top of that, we all have stuff in our minds that we need to let go. And so basically, what my topic is about, what my passion is about, it's about reality. And so reality is a very interesting thing. It's not a simple thing in no form, shape, or form. It's very complicated. It can feel confusing. It's more of complicated. You can understand reality to a certain extent, but you'll get to a point where you hit a dead end. And so the reason I'm doing this is because I came a long way with my knowledge about and understanding about reality. And I've came to a certain level that I know a lot of people aren't at, either because they don't have time to understand the reality or study it, or some of them really, it's not a big deal to them. You'll say, hey, just look at the sky. Like, how is it the sky? And then they'll answer back, what do you mean? It's just the sky. It's the sky. Those type of people. And so I feel that we all need to expand our mind and expand our horizon to the fullest extent so we can really understand what and who we are. And so on the topic of reality, we all have reality, but our reality isn't our reality. That's the first thing you need to understand. We all have an individual reality that's waiting to be explored. The difficulty about that is being born without knowledge, as we all are. We're all born without knowledge, which means whatever activity is around you in any aspect, it's gonna shape you. And another big thing we're going to talk about is consciousness. And so I'm going to just mention this about consciousness for the first thing. And since we don't know anything when we are a baby, our consciousness is like a sponge. It sucks all the information up that it gets. It's like it never stops being hungry. It always needs more food, always needs more information, constantly. It's never full. And so when we're born, that's where the saying comes, product of your environment. When you're a kid, you don't know much. But when you get taught things, see things, our ears feed us and our eyes feed us. We see things, we hear things, it shapes us. it gives us food, for that analogy. When I said that we are not our individual reality, is it comes down to a system. And the system I'm talking about is the system that we're born in, the system that shapes us from the start. As soon as that birth certificate is signed. Before that, really. And so I live in America, United States, and so we got certain, regulation guidelines that we need to follow and stick by, and we are taught on and brought up on. Basically, when we're a kid, we start going to school. It's called elementary school. We all know that. And so what we're taught in elementary school, the simple stuff. A, B, C's, 1, 2, 3s, maybe some 1 plus 1s, all that type stuff. Of course, we need that for life. But then we get a little bit older, and it's a whole nother subject. They taught us all the basic fundamentals that we need to know so we can talk about all the next stuff in the future, which is wasteless information, honestly, or unuseful, useless information. And we get that in mainly high school, but middle school too, A lot of that stuff we don't even use in life. I know a lot of people have thought about that in their mind, and it's like while they're doing the work or something, it's like, I'm never gonna use this in life. I have no interest about none of this. Guess what? It doesn't matter. If you don't do it, you're gonna go to detention. If you don't do it, you're gonna get bad grades, and that's gonna affect your future. Who was that voice talking? Who just said all of that? The system. The system that we set in as soon as we're born. And so the thing about a system is, especially when you don't know nothing from the start, you can't help but to understand that system. Yes, the ABCs, 1, 2, 3s is important, but I mean, that's how we communicate. That's how, math, literature. I understand all of that. But let's get to the deeper stuff. Our consciousness expands. It starts growing. We we're getting older, starting to notice more stuff, and all the things that comes with getting older. And so, since we are in a system, since birth, it hinders our want to understand more. And so, about me, this is my passion about reality, and I can't help it. It keeps me up at night, and I'm not surprised because it's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of us. It's so many crazy things about this life that just makes your head spin. And talking about spinning, the earth spins at 1,000 miles per hour. Blows my mind, It should blow yours. It's so crazy that my mind can't comprehend it. It's like, what? like, okay, thanks for the information, but what? How? It's crazy. And so, back to the system, since it hinders our curiosity about stuff, because our mind has to focus on other things. Even when we're grown, we have work, we have, trying to provide for the house, this, that. There's so much stuff going on. Where did all of this stuff come from? And what is it a part of? All of this stuff is going. But just like a house, everything on top, how is it really? How is all that stuff really on top? The foundation. And what is the foundation in our lives? The system. All the stuff going on in your life. The system is still the foundation of everything that's going on. It's like in the background. It's working in the background. Simple as that. And so that being said, it is no surprise that we be hindered with curiosity. And a lot of us do have curiosity, but it doesn't go very far. It's a lot of things I don't understand. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. But it's a lot more you can understand. The system just hasn't let you know that. And that back to technology, you have magic in your hand. You have information at your disposal. And remember, don't believe everything you read online. But the same way that we figured out the earth wasn't flat, we can still learn factual stuff, And so that's my goal, to let you guys know about what's really going on and really think outside the box, outside of concepts. And that's another thing I was going to touch on, human concepts. Always remember this for the rest of your life. Everything that you know, hear about, see about, it's all human concepts. Every single thing on this earth, besides, plants and stuff like that. I mean, the label that we call it a plant, that's human concept. And what I mean by that is we are the most dominant species on this earth. Every other creature on this earth, they can't make the Wiz Khalifa building. They can't even imagine doing that, even if they wanted to, because it's not possible for them. And like they couldn't even, they can't do something like that. We can only do something like that. That's how crazy a difference we are from other species. So just remember that every single thing you see and know, it isn't just what it is. It was created by us, which means it was something before. Or it just wasn't labeled yet, And so we're the only ones that can do that. And so basically where I'm going with this is when we add all of that up, it's clearly something that ain't right. It's something not right. And since we're already hooked by a system, we have a lot of other systems that we gravitate towards, such as religion. And a lot of other reasons why we gravitate towards other systems is because of our amygdala. It's called amygdala, and it's in our brain. And so basically the amygdala produces emotions and stuff like that. It's the emotion sensory, you could call it. And so when we have emotions, we usually tend to listen to them more than words. The same way that the saying goes, actions speak louder than words. We're going to touch on our religion a lot because remember, everything came from humans. There is no such thing as anything that we know of that was just what it was. No, that came from us. It couldn't come from a cat. It just couldn't. It couldn't come from a mammoth. Everything came from us. It doesn't matter if it's a drawing, it doesn't matter. It's us. It's all us. We're the only ones that can do it. And it is more crazy things like the Great Pyramid of Giza. We'll get into all of that in a later time. But this is just a broader aspect of what's going to go on and what I'm here to talk to you guys about. And so about religion, we always remember everything's a human concept, which means everything came from somewhere. And so Christianity, we all understand that there's the main characters, God, Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ, Mary. We're not really talking about Mary right now, and I ask a Christian, who is God? And they'll tell me, He's my Father. He's our Father. And get that I'm saying He's, which means they're putting a label on a deity, that He's a He, like us, how we have genders. So He's a He. He's our Father. He loves us. He created everything around us. Ask who Jesus is. Jesus is my Lord and Savior. He died on the cross for my sins. All that type of stuff. Christianity is the biggest religion in the world, the largest religion in the world. And I'm pretty sure most of us understand that or know that. It just gives me the question, now that I know that everything is a human concept, where did Christianity come from? Like, if you know anything or you believe anything, don't just go off your emotions. When it comes to understanding stuff, you see, if you're trying to express something, actions can speak louder than words. When you're trying to address something, understand something, you can't go off how you feel. Actions can't really explain that. You got to talk about that. And I mean, this is an action that I'm doing, talking to you about it. But, and so, where did Christianity come from? Christianity came from a very powerful empire that we all know of as Rome. The Roman Empire, I like to compare them to Spartans, kind of, because Spartans, when they were kids in the Spartan time, before they were actual Spartans, the kids were put out there with swords. It's survival of the fittest. If you die, then you just wasn't. It's survival of the fittest. You ain't make the cut. But if you survive and you finally a grown man and you ready to go to war, hey, now you a Spartan. Survival of the fittest only. Go put on your armor and stuff. Make sure you got that red on, so I don't see when you bleed. You know what I'm saying? Because we warriors. We don't bleed. You know what I'm saying? And I like to relate them to Rome, because Rome was one of the most powerful empires at that time. Not only because they system, remember, we born into this. We don't know any better. Not only because of system, but the military as well, because with power comes control. And everything is a reflection of something else. Same thing with our current state. And so, back to Rome, they have military power, structure, all of that, well planned. And so, let me ask whoever, who killed Jesus Christ? The Romans. Like straight up, the Romans. And so, who made Christianity? The Romans. The Romans. What did Constantine see in the sky? A cross. And what he felt that mean? Conquer. You gonna conquer all. It's funny. What's the number one religion in the world today now? Christianity. The same structure that the Roman Empire had, we have now. But just think about that. Jesus Christ died for our sins, killed by Romans. Who made Christianity? Rome. Wow, it's weird, ain't it? And so, at the beginning of Christianity, it was people called forefathers. And so, if you wanted to hear about the Bible, you would have to go to the church. Some centuries ago, people were just then able to have a Bible in their house. The same way some of these people that have Bibles in their house, you might have one tucked away somewhere. You wasn't allowed to do that. Nah, you tripping. You can't have no Bible. If you want to hear about this, you're going to come to the church. You're going to come to the church. And so, remember, our brain is like a sponge. So, once you go to church, you're sitting there. You're not even really, you're listening to them. But you're really just feeding your brain, remember? It's constantly hungry. It adapts to what it's around. The same way anybody can become a product of their environment. A kid is around smoking when he's a kid. Most likely probably gonna smoke. Around cussing, most likely gonna cuss. It doesn't stop. Don't overthink it. It's that simple. And we can think about that in our everyday lives around people that we see. Like, why is she or he like that? We got to remember that they not just them. They just everything that was around them, they saw, or what they been through. That's the real them. So it makes you think, like, what's really going on? Because that ain't them. It is them now, but it's really everything that was going on with them. Other things around them. And so, back to the church. They sitting in the church, getting all the information and stuff. That's the only way you could get it. So let's talk about the forefathers. It was someone called Marchand, and he used to teach on a religion called Gnosticism a little bit. And so, inside of Gnosticism, it's a word gnosis, and so that actually means knowledge. And so, I would go in depth on Gnosticism another time. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And so, back to the forefathers. They didn't like what Marchand was talking about. They actually introduced him into the society to, do stuff. But they didn't like what he was talking about. They burned his books, libraries, stuff like that. They didn't want that. So, They made what they're gonna want to be in the Bible, and then this is what the people are gonna hear. Remember, no Bibles in any other place. If you want to hear about this in general, you got to go to them, and they gonna teach you. Wow. And so that's just a sample on Christianity. Just it's just the top layer. That's all this video is about. It gets so much deeper. And so basically the fact that now we understand that everything comes from somewhere. And we know Christianity came from a religion called Judaism. And it was also Buddhism a little bit before Christianity. Hinduism goes way back over 4,000, years. And so remember, everything we think we know is human concepts. And so it's a lot of people out here. My phone accidentally died on me, actually. And as I was saying, it's people out here that actually study this stuff. They actually understand that these past religions made the ones that we understand today. And so a lot of people, they always go back to the Egyptian time, Egyptian mythology. Some go a little bit farther back to the Sumerians, And the thing that's weird is, like, you even look it up online and stuff and just like try to find the first civilization and type stuff like that. The first one they always show you is Sumerians, It's weird because like Sumerian isn't the beginning. Everything comes from something. So let's not stop. Let's not stop. So we already know the Sumerians came before the Egyptians. And now all we got to do is find out what came before the Sumerians. So what came before the Sumerians? There were the people called Ubadians. And before them, called the Halafs, or Halaf culture. Before them, Samara culture. Before them, the Yarmoukians, And I know you guys probably haven't heard of those places, but these are all important when we put everything together. Remember, all of this it's a big puzzle set, 5,000 pieces, and all we're trying to do is find every single piece, so we can look at the whole picture. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to see what my picture gonna look like. I don't like having puzzle pieces missing. I don't like that. I want to understand and see perfectly. But see, we're gonna have a couple puzzle pieces missing in the end. We'll probably get about, probably be missing about 15 pieces out of 5,000. You know why? Because I am human. We are all human, and some things literally is just out of our reach. For now, at least, we've already created a phone that's major. Who knows what else we're gonna understand? You know what I'm saying? We've discovered that dark matter is a thing, though we don't understand it. We know it's a thing. That's a big leap right there. I just want you guys to understand that stuff is deeper than it seems. Stuff is deeper than it seems. You have to remember this strange life that we have. We're born and then we die. Who knows what happens after we die? Who knows? But one thing that doesn't die, our consciousness. Our consciousness. And so let's say, just imagine darkness everywhere. And then imagine a light bulb right here. So this is the stage we're looking at right here in front of us. So right here we have a human body. Okay. It's lifeless. You could almost say it's a dead body because it has no soul in it anymore. Okay. Imagine that right here, the body. And then right here, imagine like some gas floating type smoke stuff. That is the body. That is your consciousness. That is the real you. That's you. That floating gas, that's you. That's just your body. That's you. That is the vessel to allow you to interact with the material world. Why do you think your consciousness is a material? That the fact that you can't see it, It's like, imagine your physical brain. Imagine your brain as a physical house. And then imagine everything inside of that house is virtual, which is our consciousness, or invisible, You can't see it, but it's there, It's our whole being, It's like 12:30 a.m. Everything that we think we know in this life is literally just all in our minds. Because everything that we live by today, the struggles we have, this wasn't on on nobody's to-do list back then. But now since we're here today, they'll say, well, it is what it is now. So now it is on your checklist, your to-do list. What if I say it's not, though? Because I didn't ask for this. This is my life. You know, my passions is to travel, to teach people about reality, and I love writing music. But there's certain things we literally can't control in this life, and I hate to say that. I hate it. It's the truth, though. So if you ever have a passion, find how to make that into income. It's the best you can do, man. I'm telling you, this life isn't fair. They like to say it's not easy, but it's fair to certain extents. But to certain extents, it's vice versa too. It's not fair, you know. And so we're gonna cover more on the next videos. It's a lot of crazy stuff, and the fact that, you know, one day we're gonna die. Our material body, that body dies, but that consciousness lives on. Who knows where and who knows what it turns into, you know? Not only are we light beings, like we are made of light, we're also made of stars. You know, the stars that are way out there, light years, when we look up into the sky, light years away, all the way up there. Yeah, they far, you know what I'm saying? Real talk. You know, the earth is made of stardust. You know what I'm saying? Like, stuff is weird. We have a past that we don't even really understand. Like, writing didn't come around, like, until cuneiform. You know what I'm saying? Before that, it was no writing. And then hieroglyphics after that, you know. Before all of that, it was no writing, you know. Maybe a couple drawings on a cave or something like that, you know. And it is some interesting sculptures. It was one that was dated to about 25,000 years ago, and it was a lady holding her breast, 25,000, and it was sculptured, which means they had knowledge, you know. Ubadians, Yarmoukians, they all have these coffee bean eye characters, you know what I'm saying, shaped like a snake face. And, you know, in the beginning of Genesis, who is it in the tree? A snake, which is a reptile. What was the first creature on this earth before us? Before anything? Dinosaurs. What is every single creature that is a dinosaur? A reptile. It's crazy. Everything adds up. Like, it's so much more. And we'll go in depth on all of that. I'm just giving the layer. I don't want to talk too much about it. This is just the introduction. This is K-Talk. I look forward to going more in depth with all of this. I got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of information. Y'all stay tuned. Have a good day.